My name is Lena, and I'm 28 years old. Imagine standing in front of your boss, someone you've worked for day and night, sacrificed weekends, skipped family dinners for, only for him to look you straight in the eyes and say, "You're fired." And the worst part? He did it just to impress his new girlfriend, who couldn't stand me because I was too close to him professionally. I remember that moment vividly. My hands trembled, my heart raced, and I could feel my entire world crashing. I wasn't just losing my job. I was being humiliated, treated like trash, by the very person I once helped climb the corporate ladder. But what they didn't know was, I wasn't done yet, because fate was about to hand me a chance so powerful, it would turn their lives upside down. Before I tell you how I went from being fired to owning the company, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more unbelievable stories of betrayal and sweet revenge. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. I started working at Riverton & Co., a mid-sized marketing agency, when I was just 24, fresh out of college, bright-eyed and eager to prove myself. Within months, I became the go-to person for everything: client calls, project planning, crisis management. I wasn't just an employee. I was the heartbeat of that place. My boss, Ethan, noticed my dedication early on. He was 32, charming, ambitious, and always respectful, at least back then. He often told me, "Lena, you're the reason we're growing. I can't imagine this place without you." We had a great professional relationship. I respected him, and he trusted me with major decisions. Everything was perfect, until she came along. Her name was Sabrina, Ethan's new girlfriend. She was stunning, bold, and absolutely jealous. The moment she walked into the office for the first time, she scanned me up and down, her lips curling into a faint smirk. I didn't think much of it. I kept my head down and focused on work. But soon, I began noticing the shift. Ethan started ignoring my suggestions during meetings. He stopped including me in client calls. Sabrina would show up randomly, linger around his office, and glare at me whenever I walked by. It was childish, but it got worse. One Friday afternoon, as I prepared to leave, Ethan called me in. His tone was cold. "Lena, we need to talk." I sat across from him, confused. He sighed, avoiding my eyes. "You've been too involved, too controlling. The team feels uncomfortable. I think it's best if we part ways." I blinked in disbelief. "What? Ethan? What are you talking about? I've been here since day one. I built this department." But then, Sabrina stepped out from behind the door. She had been listening the entire time. With a smug smile, she whispered, "You should have known your place, sweetheart." My heart shattered. Ethan signed the papers and handed me my termination letter. Just like that. No severance. No notice. Nothing. I walked out of that office in tears, humiliated, betrayed, and furious. For weeks, I couldn't sleep. My phone stopped ringing. The people I thought were my friends from work never reached out. I felt invisible. But something inside me refused to give up. One night, as I sat staring at my laptop, I got a notification. Riverton & Co. seeks new investors to expand operations. I stared at the screen for a long time, and then it hit me. If I couldn't work there anymore, I would own it. It sounded insane. I didn't have millions lying around, but I had something more powerful: connections and grit. Over the next few months, I started freelancing, consulting, and building a small client base. I reached out to former clients of Riverton who loved working with me. They came on board immediately. My reputation grew, and so did my savings. And then, by sheer luck, or maybe fate, I met Mr. Collins, a retired investor looking to support women-led startups. He saw my potential, my passion, and my vision. Within 6 months, we formed a partnership. Together, we began scouting struggling companies to acquire. And guess which company landed on the list? Riverton & Co. The same place that threw me out like garbage, was now bleeding money. Poor leadership, angry clients, declining revenue. Ethan and Sabrina had run it into the ground. Mr. Collins looked at me and said, "We could save this if we buy it. But it'll need a strong leader." I smiled. "Oh, I already have someone in mind." The deal was in motion. I signed the papers quietly, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And when the final document was sealed, I became the majority owner of Riverton & Co. The same office that once fired me now belonged to me. But I wasn't done yet. I had one last thing left to do. The morning I officially became the owner of Riverton & Co., I woke up with a strange calmness. The same office that once saw me walk out in tears would now watch me walk in as its boss. I dressed sharp, black blazer, white shirt, confident smile. I wanted them to feel my presence before I even said a word. As I entered the building, the receptionist, who once ignored me after I was fired, froze mid-sentence. Lena, you're back?" I smiled gently. "Not just back. I own the place now." Her eyes widened. People started whispering. The office that had turned cold to me now buzzed with murmurs. I walked straight to Ethan's office. He was sitting behind the same desk, papers scattered, phone in hand, completely unaware of the storm about to hit him. He looked up casually, then froze. "Lena? What are you doing here? You can't just walk in like—" I placed a thick envelope on his desk. "Actually, I can. You might want to read that before finishing your sentence." He frowned, opened the folder, and his face went pale. It was the ownership transfer document. My name, Lena Harris, was printed clearly as the majority shareholder and CEO. His voice cracked. This isn't possible." I leaned closer. "Oh, it's very possible. You see, when you fired me, you didn't just lose your best employee. You lost the only person who cared enough to keep this company alive." At that exact moment, Sabrina walked in, dressed expensively as always, holding a coffee. She froze when she saw me. "What's she doing here?" I turned to her calmly. "I'm the new owner, which means I'm your boss now." Her smirk disappeared. She scoffed. "You? Please, you're just bitter because Ethan chose me." I smiled, but my voice was firm. "No, Sabrina, I'm not bitter. I'm powerful. Ethan tried to regain control. Okay, let's be reasonable here. We can work together, Lena. Maybe we can—" I raised a hand to stop him. "No. You fired me in front of everyone. No warning, no respect, and now it's your turn." I slid 2 letters across the table. Termination letters. Sabrina's face turned red with rage. "You can't fire us!" I tilted my head slightly. "Actually, I can. It's all legal. Your contract's expired, and performance reports show poor results under your leadership. This company is drowning because of you." Ethan's shoulders slumped. For the first time, I saw guilt in his eyes. "Lena, I made a mistake." I looked at him. No hatred, no pity, just clarity. "You didn't just make a mistake, Ethan. You threw away loyalty for love built on insecurity." Sabrina slammed her bag on the table and hissed, "You'll regret this." I smiled coldly. "No, Sabrina, I already lived my worst day. Today, I'm rewriting the ending." Security escorted them out, the same way they once escorted me. And as I watched them walk away, I felt peace. But I didn't just want revenge. I wanted redemption. I called an emergency staff meeting. The employees gathered nervously, unsure what was happening. I stepped up to the front and said, "Some of you might remember me. I was fired unfairly months ago. But today, I return. Not for revenge, but to rebuild this company with honesty and respect." A silence followed. Then someone clapped. Then another. And soon the entire office erupted in applause. Tears filled my eyes. I finally felt seen. Over the next few weeks, I restructured the business. I rehired loyal staff, reconnected with old clients. Within 3 months, profits began to rise again. And guess what? Several of the clients Ethan lost came back because they trusted me. I even created a new mentorship program to help young women in business avoid what I went through. Because I learned something important. Sometimes the best revenge is success. But life had one more twist waiting. One evening, as I was locking up the office, I saw someone standing by the door. It was Ethan. He looked different, tired, humbled. "Lena, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I ruined everything trying to please someone who never cared about this company the way you did." I looked at him quietly. "You don't owe me an apology, Ethan. You owe it to yourself to learn." He nodded slowly. "You were always the best leader here." He turned and walked away. And that was the last time I ever saw him. That night, as I stood in my office, overlooking the city lights, I realized something profound. I didn't just win back a company, I won back my self-worth. And no one could ever take that from me again. About a month after reclaiming the company, things were going smoothly. Clients were happy, staff morale was high, and profits were starting to rise again. I was finally feeling confident in my new role as CEO. Then, one Thursday afternoon, a seemingly minor incident changed everything. I received an email from one of our major clients, one that could make or break our quarterly revenue. The subject line read, "Urgent, immediate action required." As I opened it, my stomach dropped. The client was threatening to terminate their contract because of a major mistake in their project deliverables. My first thought was shock. I personally double-checked all projects. How could this happen? I called my project manager, Alex, a man I had trusted for years. His voice was tight as he explained. I don't know. The files were altered before submission. I swear I didn't touch them. Someone inside the office must have done it. My heart raced. Betrayal inside my own company? After everything I had been through? I immediately started an investigation. I checked logs, security cameras, and file access records. And then I saw it. One of my newest hires, someone I had brought in to help with tech, had deliberately sabotaged the project. His face on the security feed, smirking as he deleted files, made my blood boil. This wasn't just incompetence. This was revenge in disguise. I called him into my office. He tried to act innocent, stammering. I don't know what you mean." I leaned across my desk, my voice cold as ice. "I have every log, every camera feed, every witness. You messed with our biggest client on purpose." "Why?" He swallowed hard. "You don't understand. I was promised a promotion if I helped someone." My mind raced. Who could have orchestrated this? I thought about Ethan and Sabrina, but they had no access anymore. Then it hit me. Someone inside my trusted team wanted to take me down, maybe thinking I was still vulnerable because I was new as an owner. I didn't panic. I couldn't. I had rebuilt this company once. I could do it again. I immediately called Mr. Collins, my investor and mentor. "We need to move fast. This could ruin us." Within hours, we fixed the project, reassured the client, and prevented a financial disaster. But I knew this was a warning, a reminder that success attracts envy. That night, I sat in my office thinking, how had I gone from being a victim of betrayal by Ethan and Sabrina to being targeted from within? And then I realized the difference this time would be strategy, not emotion. The next morning, I held a staff meeting. "I know there's been sabotage," I said firmly. "I've identified the person responsible. Betrayal doesn't belong here. We're a team. Anyone who breaks that trust is out." The room went silent. Eyes shifted nervously. The tension was palpable. I didn't name the culprit yet. Instead, I set up new protocols, stricter checks, and transparency in all project submissions. It was subtle, but effective. Within a week, the saboteur made another mistake, trying to cover his tracks. This time, I caught him red-handed. I summoned him to my office, calm but unwavering. "You've tried to destroy this company. Again. but you underestimated me. He pleaded, desperate. Lena, please, I can fix this. I need a second chance. I shook my head. No, you don't get second chances. Not here. Not with me. I handed him a termination letter. Security escorted him out, and as I watched him leave, a sense of vindication washed over me. But the lesson was clear. Betrayal can come from anywhere, even inside your own walls. Trust must be earned, and vigilance is key. After the incident, the staff who remained rallied around me. They respected my strength, my decisiveness, and my vision. I realized something powerful. True leadership isn't about avoiding betrayal. It's about handling it with courage, clarity, and confidence. A few weeks later, business was booming. We landed a record-breaking contract, regained lost clients, and even attracted new talent who admired the company's transformation under my leadership. And in quiet moments, I reflected on the journey. I had been fired, humiliated, and betrayed, but every setback had prepared me for something bigger. I understood something I hadn't known before. Revenge is satisfying, but rebuilding, thriving, and proving your worth is even sweeter. But as I looked over my office balcony, city lights twinkling, I felt a new challenge looming. Success is never simple, and sometimes your past comes back when you least expect it. It all started one Tuesday morning. I was reviewing quarterly reports when my assistant, Maya, rushed in with a pale face. Lena, you need to see this. She handed me a file. My eyes scanned the pages, and my heart skipped a beat. Ethan and Sabrina had started a competing company, and worse, they were poaching our top clients. I leaned back in my chair, stunned. This wasn't just petty revenge. They were trying to destroy everything I had worked for. Sabrina had the audacity to post on social media, flaunting their new office and claiming, Riverton and Covers will never recover. I clenched my fists. My mind raced. Could I fight them legally? Could I outsmart them strategically? I took a deep breath. I realized that anger alone wouldn't win this battle. I needed a plan. Over the next few days, I gathered my trusted team and mapped out our strategy. Step 1. Client retention. I personally called every major client, emphasizing loyalty, past successes, and the benefits of staying with Riverton & Co. Step 2. Public positioning. We launched a campaign highlighting the company's achievements, dedication to clients, and integrity, subtly showing the contrast between us and our competitors. Step 3. Monitoring their moves. I hired a market analyst to track every action Ethan and Sabrina made. Every poaching attempt, every pitch. Nothing escaped my notice. Despite my careful planning, I couldn't help feeling a flash of doubt. Ethan and Sabrina had been unpredictable before. Could they pull off something drastic? Then came the turning point. One afternoon, Ethan showed up unannounced at my office. He looked different, desperate, pleading. Sabrina trailed behind, her usual arrogance replaced by tension. Lena, we're just trying to survive. Please don't make this personal, Ethan said. I leaned against my desk, arms crossed, eyeing them calmly. It is personal, Ethan. You made it personal the moment you fired me without reason, and the moment you tried to destroy this company out of spite. Sabrina stepped forward, her voice shaky. We didn't realize how much we underestimated you. You're too strong, too smart. I smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. Underestimating me was your first mistake, and now you're about to make your last. I handed them a settlement offer, a legal agreement that would prevent them from competing against Riverton & Co., along with a clause to protect our clients. Sign this and walk away peacefully. Refuse and we go to court. And believe me, I've already spoken to our lawyers. They're ready. They looked at each other, tension rising. For a moment, I saw a flash of fear, The same fear I felt when I was fired by Ethan years ago. Finally, Ethan nodded. Fine, we'll sign. I watched them leave, a mixture of triumph and relief washing over me. Over the next few weeks, Riverton & Co. flourished like never before. Employees who had doubted me earlier now openly respected and admired my leadership. Clients praised our professionalism and stability, often commenting how the company's comeback was inspiring. I realized then that true victory wasn't about humiliation or revenge. It was about resilience, strategy, and vision. I even introduced a new employee recognition program, rewarding loyalty and hard work, the very values that had guided me from the start. And somewhere deep inside, I smiled, thinking of Ethan and Sabrina. They had tried to break me, but in the end, I had turned the tables completely. Standing in my office one evening, overlooking the city lights, I reflected on my journey. I had been fired unfairly, humiliated in front of everyone I knew. I had rebuilt myself from scratch, proving my worth. I had bought the company that betrayed me. I had faced internal sabotage and emerged stronger. I had outsmarted my former boss and his girlfriend, ensuring they could no longer threaten me. And through it all, I realized one undeniable truth. Life doesn't give you power because it's fair. It gives it to those who fight, endure, and never give up. As I turned off the lights in my office, I knew this was just the beginning. Riverton & Co. wasn't just my company. It was a symbol of strength, resilience, and triumph. And I was ready for whatever came next. Months passed, and Riverton & Co. was thriving. Revenue doubled, clients were loyal, and employees were motivated like never before. I had created a workplace culture built on respect, transparency, and empowerment. One morning, while sipping coffee in my office, I received a call from a top multinational client. They were impressed with our turnaround and wanted Riverton & Co. to handle their global marketing campaign. My heart raced. This was the opportunity I had been dreaming of, the chance to take my company to international levels. I immediately called a strategy meeting. The team buzzed with energy as we brainstormed, planned, and executed our pitch. The client was impressed not only by our creative ideas, but also by our professionalism and resilience. 2 weeks later, we signed the contract. Riverton & Co. was now officially on the world stage. It felt surreal. The company that once tried to destroy me was now a powerhouse because of me. But with growth came new challenges. Long hours, high stakes, and constant pressure tested my patience and endurance. I began to feel exhausted, juggling corporate expansion, employee needs, and personal life. And then, something unexpected happened. One evening, I received a text from an unknown number. "Congratulations, Lena, enjoy the spotlight. But remember, jealousy never sleeps." My stomach sank. Threats. Someone was clearly watching, waiting for me to slip. I didn't panic. Instead, I intensified security, digital, physical, and personnel-wise. I refused to let fear control me. At the same time, I realized I needed balance. I had been so focused on revenge and business that my personal life had been neglected. My family and friends had supported me silently for years, and it was time to reconnect. I made time for them, attending dinners, small trips, and even casual coffee breaks. I discovered a new sense of fulfillment. Success felt sweeter when shared with those you love. Then came the biggest personal challenge yet, trusting someone new. During a networking event, I met Daniel, a fellow entrepreneur with integrity, ambition, and a gentle heart. He admired my story, my resilience, and my vision for Riverton & Co. At first, I was cautious. I had been betrayed before, after all. But Daniel was different, patient, understanding, and genuinely supportive. Slowly, I began letting him into my life. Balancing love and work wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, arguments over decisions, and challenges in maintaining boundaries. But for the first time in years, I felt safe to trust someone. As Riverton & Co. expanded internationally, I continued mentoring young professionals, especially women. I launched an initiative called Lead Like Lena, sharing lessons from my journey. Don't let betrayal define you. Build your success brick by brick. Use strategy, not emotion, when facing adversity. Protect what's yours, but grow beyond it. The company became more than a business. It was a symbol of empowerment. And every time I thought about Ethan and Sabrina, I felt no hatred, only a quiet satisfaction. They had underestimated me once. I had proved them wrong, not just through revenge, but through growth, vision, and integrity. The final turning point came when I spoke at a major business conference. Standing on the stage, facing hundreds of ambitious entrepreneurs, I shared my story. I spoke about betrayal, humiliation, resilience, and ultimate triumph. I saw nods, tears, and admiration in the crowd. And at that moment, I realized something profound. Success isn't measured by revenge or wealth. It's measured by how you rise after being knocked down, how you empower others, and how you reclaim your life with dignity. As the applause echoed, I knew my journey wasn't just about business. It was about living life on my terms, facing every obstacle head-on, and turning pain into power. And so, standing there, I smiled. Riverton & Co. had survived, thrived, and transformed. I had survived, thrived, and transformed. I had turned a story of betrayal into a story of inspiration. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon. I was reviewing expansion plans for Riverton & Co.'s European branch when an urgent call came through. The voice on the other end was panicked and hurried. "Lena, you need to come to the office immediately. Something's happening." My heart sank. I rushed to the office, slipping through the rain. Employees whispered as I passed, eyes wide. The atmosphere was tense, unlike anything I had seen since taking over the company. I burst into the main office to see chaos. Multiple employees were huddled near computers. Screens displayed alarming news. Riverton & Co.'s biggest international client, the one we had worked tirelessly to secure, had received a forged contract, claiming we had violated terms and were under investigation for fraud. I froze. My pulse raced. This wasn't a minor challenge. This was catastrophic. "Lena, we don't know who did it. Everything came through encrypted emails," Alex, my project manager, said. I knew immediately. This wasn't Ethan and Sabrina. They didn't have access to our systems anymore. This was someone with inside knowledge and malicious intent. I called a crisis meeting. Every team member was present. "Listen carefully," I began. "This isn't just about contracts. This is an attack on everything we've built. But we will not let fear dictate our actions. We will uncover who is behind this, and we will fix it. Together." Over the next 48 hours, we worked tirelessly. IT experts traced the attack, revealing a shocking truth. The saboteur had been a consultant we had hired months ago, someone with an impeccable resume but a hidden agenda. I called him into my office. His demeanor was smug until he saw the intensity in my eyes. "You've tried to destroy us." "Again," I said coldly. "Do you know who I am?" He faltered. I just needed the money. It wasn't personal." I leaned closer. "It is personal because you tried to destroy what I rebuilt with my heart and soul. You underestimated me. You underestimated the team. And most importantly, you underestimated my resolve." He was escorted out immediately. Legal action was taken, and the client was reassured. Our reputation remained intact. After the crisis, I realized something vital. True leadership isn't just about strategy and revenge. It's about endurance, empathy, and quick thinking under pressure. The experience bonded my team more than ever. Morale skyrocketed, loyalty deepened, and Riverton & Co.'s emerged stronger than before. Even Daniel, my partner in life, supported me through the intense days, reminding me that personal and professional strength must coexist. A week later, I hosted a celebration for our team. The room was filled with laughter, music, and pride. I gave a short speech. This company was almost destroyed countless times, but every time we rose higher. This isn't just about me or my journey. It's about all of us, our perseverance, our loyalty, and our refusal to give up. Riverton Encoders is proof that when you face betrayal with strength and vision, you don't just survive, you thrive. The applause was overwhelming. Some employees had tears in their eyes. I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. That evening, I sat in my office alone, reflecting. I thought about Ethan and Sabrina, about the betrayals, the sabotage, and the challenges. But instead of hatred, I felt gratitude. Gratitude for every obstacle that forced me to grow, every challenge that tested me, and every moment that revealed my true strength. For the first time in years, I felt completely free. I had not only reclaimed my company, I had reclaimed myself. And as the city lights flickered outside my window, I whispered to myself, I am no longer the girl who was fired. I am the woman who built empires, conquered betrayal, and turned every setback into triumph. Riverton & Co. wasn't just a business. It was my legacy, my victory, my proof that no one, not even the people who try to destroy you, can define your destiny. It was early morning when I walked into the office for a final strategy meeting of the quarter. The atmosphere felt different, light, confident, and energized. After everything we'd survived, Riverton & Co. had become unstoppable. Not because of one person, but because of a team that shared vision, resilience, and loyalty. Daniel, who had been by my side throughout the chaos, smiled warmly. You did it, Lena. You really did it. I nodded, but I knew this was more than a business victory. It was personal closure. Later that day, an unexpected visitor arrived. Ethan, alone this time. He looked older, humbled, and genuinely remorseful. Lena, I wanted to thank you, he said quietly. You didn't just run this company better than I ever could. You taught me something important about integrity, loyalty, and leadership. I came here to apologize. Truly. I studied him for a moment. The man who had once humiliated me, the man whose betrayal had set me on this path, was sincerely regretful. Ethan, I hope you've learned that success isn't just about impressing someone or cutting corners, I said calmly. It's about character, vision, and respect. I've grown stronger because of what you did, but I don't need revenge anymore. He nodded, a mixture of relief and shame on his face, and left quietly. For the first time, I felt pure closure. As the days went by, Riverton & Co. continued to thrive. We secured more international clients, expanded into new markets, and became a benchmark for excellence in the industry. But more importantly, I realized that personal growth mattered as much as professional success. I nurtured relationships with family, friends, and Daniel. I mentored young women, sharing my story of betrayal, resilience, and triumph. One evening, as I looked out over the city skyline, I reflected on the journey. I had been fired unjustly. I had faced humiliation, betrayal, and sabotage. I had rebuilt a company from the ashes. I had conquered rivals, both external and internal. I had found love, balance, and personal fulfillment. And through it all, I discovered a truth. Power is not about holding grudges. It's about rising above, building something meaningful, and proving your worth through action, not words. The final victory wasn't just ownership of a company or revenge against those who wronged me. The real triumph was becoming the person I was meant to be, confident, resilient, and unshakable. I smiled as I walked through the office one last time that evening. Employees greeted me warmly, clients sent messages of praise, and Daniel's hand found mine in quiet reassurance. I had turned pain into purpose, humiliation into motivation, and betrayal into empowerment. And for the first time in years, I felt completely free. No threats, no grudges, no lingering fears, just me, standing tall, in control of my destiny. Ending. This story isn't just about revenge. It's about rising from the ashes, transforming betrayal into growth, and proving that no one, not even those who try to destroy you, can define your life unless you let them. I am Lena. I was fired. I was humiliated. I was betrayed. But I rebuilt. I reclaimed. I rose. And now, I thrive. Message to viewers. If this story inspired you, remember, life will throw challenges, betrayal, and heartbreak your way. But your resilience, intelligence, and courage define your ultimate success. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with anyone who needs a reminder that true strength comes from rising after being knocked down. Thank you for following my journey, and remember, the greatest revenge is your own success.